Hello and welcome to the Carry On Gaming Podcast, where this week we came to podcast and chew bubblegum. As fortune would have it, we've exhausted our supply of chewable luxury items. My name is Grady. You can find me on Twitter at @AFriendlyPest, and I am joined by...
I'm Stefan. I got unfired from the podcast, and you can find me on Twitter on Hellblazer_Sith, and behind the Facebook Carry On Gaming podcast page.
I'm Dan. I'm the resident guy who likes to talk, apparently. And you can find me on Twitter at JourneymanDan and behind the Carry On Gaming Twitter handle at Cog Podcast.
I'm Chris. I don't use Twitter, and apparently Grady has taken over the moniker of cringe monger for the podcast today.
You're welcome.
So this week we're joined by a very special guest. If you tuned in last week, you would have seen that we were joined by the man himself, Mr. Tushi from Community Game Nights. And this week we have his the other half of that venture. He's the man from the north. It's Animated Evil. How are you doing, Animated?
Hello, and thank you for having me. It's an absolute pleasure to be here. I am Animated Evil, as you said. I will get my Twitter out there like you guys do. You can find me on Twitter at animated_evil. We'll get that out the way. A little bit about me. Yes, I co-host Community Game Night with Mr. Tushy on a Friday and Saturday every week on Xbox in the UK. We play silly video games and entertain people as best we can.
Okay, great. Well, in lieu of our normal sponsor this week, actually a public service announcement, if we could. Never buy flowers from a monk. Only you can prevent florist friars.
That is so bad.
It's staying in.
And we're very excited to announce our new venture, Carry On Installing, where you come to Steph's house and he'll install Windows 11 on your PC free of charge. It's our little way of giving back to the community.
Perfect.
He loves it that much.
Give me
It's
more
the
of
rounded
those
edges.
curved screens.
It's the rounded edges.
Well, yeah, they just pinched that off Apple.
No. Windows invented that. Who's Apple? Mr. Evil, a pleasure to have you on the show, as myself and Dan have both attended the Community Game Night, and Steph has pledged also to attend.
Yes.
Would you tell us how you got started with the Community Game Night? Maybe talk about it a little bit. The service you offer the community, at least on Twitter, twice a week, it seems.
It's strange because Community Game Night got me into all this podcasting malarkey and Twitch and YouTube, and completely by accident. I was watching Fun Speculation stream one evening, and they were playing, I think, Halo Master Chief Collection. So this was end of last year, about November. I was just minding my own business, playing a video game on the old Xbox, watching Mav, and he said, "Oh no, this person's leaving. That means that the teams are going to be unbalanced." So I sent him a message in the chat on YouTube. I said, I'll join you if you want. And then from there, I was invited into the following Community Game Night, where I met Mr. Tushy. And it just spiraled from there. He was getting some big numbers, and he basically said, "Would you mind hosting a second lobby if we get full?" And from that moment, I became the co-host of Community Game Night UK.
No, it's funny you two get along so well. I actually assumed you were friends before the Community Game Night.
Nope. No, just met him randomly online. We are fast friends now. Never met each other in person.
Well, that's
But
a shame.
we do.
I've never
have
met any of these bozos in person, and we've been friends for like 7 years now.
Not to
Yeah.
derail the topic, but it was funny watching Dan react to seeing Steph's face move for the first time ever in that video, for the podcast you guested on. That was
Yeah,
awesome.
actually, talking about that, I've actually video called Grady when he was doing the song Dan did, and I think that was the first time I've actually spoken to you on video.
More handsome than you expected?
Oh yeah, definitely.
I
Number
think so
one
too.
guy. Sorry, Sandy.
I
It
feel
looks better
very
in
left
motion.
out now. I've never seen you in person.
Doesn't take much, though, does it?
I want some.
This is a child-friendly podcast. Not anymore.
Back to Community Game Night. I guess what impresses me most about it is the time commitment. Like, it's a huge commitment of time to share 5+ hours of your day twice a week. It's a huge commitment of time.
It is, and there's no pressure for either of us to do it. So if Tushy said, look, I'm not going to do it this week, I would host on my own, or there's been times where we've both gone, let's call it a weekend and not have one this weekend. But it's not about us hosting and stuff, it's about the people we get to meet in there. We do get a lot of newcomers come in, like yourself. You've just recently been with us. It's so much fun, and there's been very few instances where people have argued. Very few. I think it's happened maybe twice. Sometimes we do get a few silly billies, as we like to call them, come in, but one of us will just, tell them nicely, look, behave, or we kick you out. But on the whole, it's a very enjoyable community. It really is. I think the biggest one we had, and I don't know how it's possible, we had a game on Halo, and we overfilled the Xbox Live party. I think we had 23 people in there somehow. I don't know how it happened, because
Nice.
there's a limit of 18. So we had 23 people all shouting at each other, this and that. It was really good.
I bet that was a bit chaotic as well.
It can be. The most chaos was when we tried to do Sea of Thieves.
I can only imagine.
So we were, So you'll love this. What we decided to do, because I play with Tushy and a few others quite often on Sea of Thieves. We tried to get a few people who've never played it before. Obviously, crew them up on a ship with somebody who knows his way around, him, her, whoever's there, someone who's played before, and the new novice. So the goal was that we would teach them Sea of Thieves. No, listening to all those instructions, everybody shouting at each other, it was absolute bedlam. Funny, but we were forced to split the party, so we actually had 4 different parties that night. It was
Yeah,
nice.
I think it was bad enough when we were a party of 6 or 7 just playing Halo, and that was chaotic enough. Let alone
yeah.
23.
Yep. People taking it serious, trying to do call outs while other people are having conversations about this and that. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah,
total
that was
chaos.
great. To get really annoyed when I think it was me and Eleanor, because we sucked at the game. So we were just having a casual conversation, and Grady was taking it dead serious.
That's how I play my Halo, damn it.
So the way it works is on a Friday we pick one game, and it's just loose. We'll do whatever. If it works, we'll carry on playing it, or if we all get bored, we'll discuss it. We'll just jump on something else. Last night it was Killer Instinct, so that was quite good. Basically, King of the Hill, same as King of the Hill and Mortal Kombat. Really good. Obviously, there's a fair bit of rage going on when the same person kept winning, but there you go. That's fighting games. And on a Saturday, we pick 2 games. So between 9 and 11, we'll play one game, and at 11 p.m. we will swap over to the second game. But we don't always end at 1 o'clock. If there's an American one on, we go over to the American one. And if you are interested in joining today, we are playing MotoGP 2020. None of us have ever played that, so I expect some rage crashes and everything. And the second game we're playing at 11 p.m. is Halo 5. If you want to tread the water, Steph.
What time? 11.
11 p.m. UK time, yeah.
Do I have it on my Xbox?
That's bedtime for Steph.
I don't.
Bedtime.
But
Yeah.
we always get pretty good numbers on a Halo
Is
night.
it on the Master Chief Collection?
No.
Is it on Game Pass?
It is.
Yep.
Why can't
I would like to highlight also the pre-recorded episode. This won't come up until next Saturday, so anybody listening to this right now that wants to join us the game night, it will be a different set of games.
Yes. That's a good point. I'm not used to doing pre-recorded. Mine's always live and...
You're just the F it, we'll do it live type.
Yeah, I wing it as well. I even with the topics, I don't even bother looking most of the stuff up. I just wing it.
They're lying to throw you guys off.
No, we did wing it a bit on Wednesday because we went through the topics very quickly because there's only 4 of us.
Yeah, unfortunately, I missed that episode. I apologise.
As Chris said, we did record on like a Thursday or Wednesday, so we'd release on Saturday. But when Chris joined the show, he couldn't attend at that hour, and we pushed back to the Saturday before to make it possible for him to participate in the regular episodes.
I'm
so
so
sometimes
sorry.
we'll react to stuff that we're excited about that's released by the time the episode comes out. It causes some complications, but I mean, really, we're just doing this for fun anyway, so it doesn't matter that much. If anybody's coming to us for news, not only will we be wrong, we will be late.
If everyone's coming to us for news, they should get a CAT scan.
Episode 2, we re-recorded just for the news.
That's true. Yeah,
And that
we
was
recorded midweek.
the most friggin' stress of editing, because it had to be done, like, I think we recorded on Thursday, edited Friday for release Saturday.
Anyway, I guess I missed a pretty epic rant from Timmy last night, because I
Timmy.
participated some. I had to download the game, so by the time I got it downloaded, the clear champion was already well established for a game I never played, and I patiently waited my turn to take a shot at him with nothing but a picture of what the controls were, and got absolutely obliterated in about 15 seconds. And I wasn't mad about it, right? I actually expected that to happen. So I dropped out of the lobby and I went to the tutorials, and I had no idea, like, the time investment I would need to put forth to be even halfway almost competitive, plus the hours of practice. So I wouldn't mind a different format maybe to the Killer Instinct thing, but I always have a good time no matter what the game is. I'm there more for the company than the gameplay anyway.
Yeah, with reference to Timmy's rants, they are things of legend, and shout out to him. And I'll tell you how the old Timmy come about, and you'll find that when he shows up in a room, a lot of people do that, or when he joins a party, everyone will just shout Timmy. Because when I first met him, I was a little bit inebriated, shall we say.
It's South Park, isn't it?
It is, yeah, and it really is. And on that night, I made him a promise that I would try my damnedest to have everybody, as soon as he appears, shout his name. So far, so good. It's happening on many, many podcasts and in many, many game chats. So it's my mission in life, because I made him a promise. So shout out to Timmy.
That's your life's quest.
No,
Kind of,
that brings up another point that I'd say, everybody's very welcoming, but you especially put forth extra energy when anybody joins in to make them feel welcome. I know every time I show up, there's always a big greeting from everybody, and it feels good that people are happy that you showed up. It's one of my favorite parts of the evening. It's why I come and go so often, as I just like being welcomed.
Yeah, it's always nice when you walk into a room and everyone goes, "Hey!" Right?
Oh, it feels good.
I'd like to second what Grady just said there, animated. Like, personally, I've never been, the biggest multiplayer gamer, so like I don't get into a lot of parties. Also, couple that with the fact that I actually have autism, so sometimes it can be difficult to merge with new groups. But you were very welcoming and very I had a lot of fun that one time. The one night I jumped in with you, and you were very, very welcoming. You and Tushi. So it's a great community.
Thank you. That means that's why we do it. We want somewhere nice for people to come and hang out, because there's a lot of terrible group chats and things you could join in. I mean, you go into some parties, it's like, oh my, why am I here? So we try and make it all. The ethos is to make it as friendly and as welcome as possible, so anybody can come and go as they please and everything. And it takes, gaming's for, like Phil Spencer says, gaming's for everyone. It's an escape for us all. I mean, it's really nice to hear. Thank you.
Yeah, because one thing I wanted to mention, when Brady started interacting with you, Mr. Tushi and all that, and I was like, all right, well, I should get involved with that. And yeah, everyone's been really welcoming. I went on Stubbs' podcast and we trolled Grady. Like the first chance we put all our names to different versions of a friendly fest.
I have seen most of it, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, that was a bit entertaining, but everyone's just so welcoming and nice. And like, from my experience, when I started finding people to game with, I used Facebook groups, and this is how I met Grady and Dan. And it was such a toxic place, and it was bad. But actually seeing a whole different community where everyone's just so friendly, it's really refreshing, especially when you got the stereotype with certain games just being toxic fanboys.
Yeah.
And that brings up a good point. Right? I made the comment to Mr. Tushy that it feels like a curated group of people that are worth hanging out, that you'll have a good time, and it'll be a positive impact on your life in some way. Like the gentleman that was invited to leave the party last night did not add to that atmosphere. So if you do show up at community game night, they are good people and you will have a good time.
that user had to exit.
Ridiculous things in Forza, like driving your bloody Reliant Robins. I'm not letting this go.
Yes, we do. But it's fun. I mean, that's the point. It's supposed to be. I mean, those Reliant Robins, you can't even turn them. They tip up.
No, you can't.
It's about 800 brake horsepower, and it weighs about as much as a Frisbee. There's nothing you can do about it. And he puts long-distance races on in the rain. It's like, why? But hearing everybody abuse each other in a nice way and laughing about it, that's just, it makes me smile when I think that was brilliant.
Absolutely. It's like golf with acorns. Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, that's the one game that does trigger me. I'm usually that laid back. I'm almost dead, but that game sets me off something terrible.
I really am going to have to look into that.
What, golf with friends?
Yep.
Chris
fun.
needs friends first.
He's got
True.
us.
It's true. No, I don't.
I'm alright being
You'll-
by myself.
Come and join us. You'll find plenty with us. It's fine.
Was there anything else you wanted to say about Community Game Night before we move on to another topic?
No, we can move on. I mean, if anybody wants to join us, like I said, it's 9 o'clock Fridays, 9 o'clock Saturdays. You find all the information on Twitter. Follow Mr. Tushy, Mr. Tushy underscore. Well, it's not Mr. underscore Tushy underscore gaming. It's a mouthful. And I am animated underscore evil. Yeah, you'll find all the information there if you're interested
I'll put
in
it
joining.
in the description as well on the YouTube.
And that's 9 p.m. BST, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's the reason we wanted to have you on this week and Mr. Tushy on last week. Originally, the vision was to have you both on together, but the logistics didn't work out on that visit. Community Game Night has become a highlight of my week. I look forward to it every week. I try to pay attention to what games are going to be on there and pre-install. It's a pleasure to be able to highlight what you guys are doing for the community, 'cause you interact in a positive way. Besides just posting stupid memes, you actually bring people together to have a good time, and it means a lot to me, and grateful to have you on the show.
Oh, thank you, man. That's very humbling for you to say so. If we had cameras, I'd be bright red by now.
For our next topic, we are going to be talking about what we have been playing. So, I guess, Grady, do you want to kick this off?
Yeah, I was hoping somebody else would go first. I could organize my thoughts and words.
Fine, I will kick
No,
it off
I'll go.
then.
That's fine. Nope, quit yelling at me. Let's see.
Yeah, you
I
first.
forgot. Oh, no. Atomic Crops came to Game Pass, and I want to talk about that one because I think people are kind of looking past it. And it's not like I thought it would be kind of a Stardew Valley with, I don't know, an edgy Stardew Valley, and it's actually more of a bullet hell type game. And I think it's got some roguelike elements as well, because when I died, I had to start over. But you've got a small bout of crops, and everything's kind of a almost Nickelodeon, bizarre, animated cartoon style. And you go out and fight these other mutated monsters and stuff to gather seeds, and then you start getting extra equipment and abilities, like a lightning cloud circling you, or a thorn, or a cow at your base that helps water your plants, or a bee to work on your crops. And then at the end of the day, you go back to a town, you can buy more stuff to go back in, and I think the point is to kind of push for a high score, and I find it pretty entertaining to play casually, so I recommend that, and I think a lot of people are probably going to skip it. And let's see, Omno was also added to Game Pass. That if you're in the mood for something that's got a lot of atmosphere and no combat, some light puzzle solving, it starts off very easy, and then the puzzles get more interesting, and of course you can choose to 100% an area or not. But I find the graphics on it are really nice. The music's good. I like the atmosphere. It's kind of haunting. I think that's a great puzzle game and a lighter experience if you're in the mood for that. I've been playing a lot. One more game I guess I would like to mention is Deep Rock Galactic, which is also in Game Pass. And that's a game I played a while back and then just recently decided to get back into it again. It seems like they've added a lot of content. It's a very small download, and there is a ton of content there as far as progressing your character and unlocking perks, and then the different assignments you can do that unlock different weapons you can buy. And then there's like a bar you can have it in at the main base, play music and kick these cans in it. It's just a great overall game. It's a very light download, and again in Game Pass, which it's also playable, I think up to 4 people. Great co-op experience, a lot of fun. Go down to these planets and you try to mine resources, whatever the mission might be. This morning I did a mission I'd never done before where we had to escort a giant drill bulldozer while the monsters try to attack it, and then eventually bring out the resources. So I think that's a really fun game I'd like to mention as well.
I remember you telling me about that a while ago, and I was interested and never picked it up. Now it's on Game Pass, and I'm planning on giving it a shot sometime soon.
I think it's PC crossplay as well, and the different dwarfs have different roles. Like I play the driller, and I make it easier to tunnel to different areas. Stubbs, which is different Stubbs than Podcast Stubbs, he likes to play the scout, which grapples around and can shoot flares to light things up. There's a gunner as well, and I can't remember the other class. It's more of a technician. I think he can put up turrets and stuff. I can't remember what he's called. Great game.
Yeah, it looks like a pretty good time.
And I don't know if I mentioned, I think it has cross-play with PC as well. It used to for sure. So you can play that across platforms.
Oh, then we would be able to play together, because I wouldn't play it on my Xbox probably. I haven't touched my Xbox in...
I play a lot, but I think those are the only ones I want to highlight this week, really. So if someone else wants to go.
Yeah, so I've been playing a bit this week. I've been playing a game called Last Stop, which is made by a small independent studio called Variable State. This is their second game they've released. So Last Stop is an exploration game. It's single player and it's out on all consoles. And you basically play as three main characters, all with a different story. So the first one is quite depressing in a sense. You're playing as someone called John Smith. He's got a medical condition, down on his luck, has a daughter, can't afford his bills. Another character, Mina, she's a bit MI5, James Bond sort, who's having an affair on her husband, and she's starting to catch up with her. The third person, who's Donna, they accidentally kidnap someone, but it basically turns out it's an alien, and it's slowly wiping away people in her life, so she is by herself. So the controls are pretty simple. The main part of this game is the story rather than the gameplay itself. The gameplay feels similar to a Telltale game, but I've been enjoying that. I've also been playing Microsoft Flight Simulator. Still great fun. I've actually learnt to land the plane a bit, which makes a change. Trying to land the Eurofighter is difficult. Do not recommend trying to do that. And mobile-wise, I've been playing Plants vs. Zombies 2. I didn't play it on PC. It's just a bit of was supposed to be casual, but it's actually quite stressful as a game. Anyone else been gaming?
I've been playing a few things. I've been a bit busy with work and stuff this week, but I've been playing through the Walking Dead Telltale series again. That game's always been close to my heart. Just like the characters and the story, never fails to put a tear to my eye at the end of all of it. It's fantastic. That's all. Most of that's on the Game Pass, bar the final season. So if you haven't played it yet, what are you doing? Just install it and give it a go. Also been playing Flight Sim again.
Sucks.
It doesn't suck. You're just not good at it.
Carl!
And the Scots actually let me land this time, so shout out to them for doing me right this time. And playing a lot of Game Dev Tycoon, because that's just a really good game to play, when you're
Did I set you off playing that when I mentioned it? Did I set you off playing that after I mentioned it a couple of weeks back?
No, I play that nearly every day. It's like a thing, I've got like over 300 hours in that game. It's just it's an addiction of mine.
Bloody hell.
Matter of fact, pretty sure Dan got you started on that stuff, if I remember correctly.
I can't remember Dan ever mentioning it to me.
I don't know if I did or not, but I love it anyway. And if you haven't played that, get that on Steam really cheap, or you can even play it on your Switch if, God forbid, you want to do it that way. It's there, or on the mobile. Plenty of places to play that game.
I'm a sucker for a single player, but I like to bite off a lot more than I can chew. So recently, I've just finished Yakuza 0. I was a little bit upset. It did 125 hours, and when it gave me my rating at the end, it said I did 41% of the game. So I was a little bit
Holy
upset.
crap.
Yeah. Ouch.
So I thought I was thinking, do you know what? I've been playing this for ages. Let's just finish the story, see what happens. And I thought 120. It must be a good 70%. Nope, 41.2%. So I have started Yakuza Kiwami. Obviously, that's available in Game Pass. But this week has been a week of co-op and co-op only, because I managed to get into. Don't shout at me. I managed to play Halo. the flag. That was quite good.
Boo! Halo's not real. Halo Infinite's not a game.
Stefan wasn't invited as context.
I know, that's why I didn't want to be shouted at. Yeah.
I know. He knows I haven't been invited. Anytime I've seen it on Twitter, I'm like, it's not real.
Oh, it's real. I've played it.
Screw you.
Really good too.
Yeah, I was in the party too.
And then the Ascent dropped, which you could play solo, but I chose to meet up with a couple of friends and do the Ascent. I streamed it on my Twitch. That's really good fun. It wasn't performing as it should. At one point, it turned off my Series S when it was trying to load. So I decided I'll leave that. I've got past a point now. It's good. And then, of course, on the other day, I managed to get into Back 4 Blood as well. So it's been co-op all this week.
Oh, how was that?
That is really good. Really, really good. I never played the Left 4 Dead series. Because
I was just about to ask you how similar is it to Left 4 Dead, but that answers my question.
Yeah, we had a discussion about it because some of the people I was playing with really liked Left 4 Dead, and that's why they wanted to be in. And they said, if you like Left 4 Dead, you're going to absolutely love this because it's so similar, but better in many ways, apparently.
Oh.
It's really good. I enjoyed it.
I'm still going to wait till it's out on Game Pass rather than buying it.
Yeah, it's launching day one into Game Pass as well. I just don't think Game Pass gives you access to the beta. You mentioned the Ascent. Now, I briefly tried to play that with my wife. Split screen. Yeah, or not split screen, just couch co-op. It's one screen. And I think we were supposed to kind of gear up before we went to this next mission. We left kind of a bar, and instead we went straight to the objective and got absolutely murked. So I think we're going to have to roll back and kind of try that. I haven't played that enough to know whether I like it. But I know they did just put out some patches that are supposed to help with some of the stability issues you mentioned.
Yeah. I mean, there was an update performed on the Ascent. So, yeah, that did fix some of my issues. Do believe that it looks better on the PC. I think I've read this somewhere that the ray tracing and stuff isn't on the Xbox yet. But that's something they're going to remedy. Well,
it's a game I want to like. But I didn't notice any graphical issues. I'm not sure if the Series X has ray tracing or not. It's kind of an impressive looking game. It's so active. Yeah. There's people everywhere and objects in the background and effects and volumetric lighting, and it's actually kind of beautiful in its own way if you like the aesthetic of the cyberpunk. But the gameplay itself, I'm not completely sold on it yet. I want to like it. I think once I get, maybe if it had a different on-ramp, I wouldn't be kind of struggling a little bit like I am now. I think once I get rolling, I'll enjoy it. It's an interesting game for sure.
Do you think it'd be something that I could get into, or would you advise against it, knowing the type of games
Just try it. Just try it, because it's on Game Pass. Nothing to lose.
I'd like to think I know Dan better than Dan knows Dan. And not only does he have sharp thumbs, but he's very patient when it comes to certain games. I think he'll like it, and I think he'll do well.
If he has sharp thumbs, he should clip his fingernails, obviously.
Well, I was going to say, as long as there's no XP boosting, I think Dan will be fine.
Yeah. I'll kick him. If there is, well, then I'll be writing an angry letter.
Toss a coin to your next topic. Oh, podcast of plenty. Oh, podcast of plenty. Toss a coin to your next topic. Oh, podcast of plenty.
Switch over to the next topic.
I'm just checking what I put in our messenger because there was something I did want to mention.
Splitgate, wasn't it?
What?
Yeah, you want to talk about Splitgate servers.
Oh yeah, that thing. Does anyone else know about this Splitgate stuff?
I had.
You go ahead and explain.
I have tried to play it.
Yeah. So basically, the issue is that they need more servers, but they can't. They can't get any more.
Well, that wraps that up. They need more, but they can't get them.
I need more money, but I can't
the news.
get
No,
That's awesome. I have mixed feelings about Splitgate because it's basically ripping off Halo hard, right? Which I guess it's different enough, but
it's Halo with portals.
Yeah, but Halo had portals. Not portals you could shoot.
But it has portals.
Oh, so they've ripped
Yeah.
off Halo and Portal.
Yeah. So it's kind of on the fence about it, but apparently
And
people
Prey.
like it. It's a lot of fun, right? So people are really enjoying the game, and that's part of the thing, is that there's such demand that they can't keep up with the servers. And they're...
Yes, so apparently people wait up to 90 minutes plus just to get into one game.
Jesus.
And it's basically the game is more successful than they initially planned it to be. And they've already delayed it, because this was a delayed release, I believe. So basically their plan is to they're working on a long-term solution to greatly increase server capacity to well over 100k concurrent users on one go, but that's going to take a while. So I would give up on Splitgate until they've attempted to fix their server issue. But it makes an interesting point, like with other games like Halo, which does have a big player base, and they tend to have server issues on first launch.
Well, that's true of the Master Chief Collection, but Halo 5 actually launched pretty well. And I expect all hands are on deck to make sure Infinite launches well, especially since it's going to be on more platforms at launch than it's ever been.
How was it playing on the beta?
In my opinion, absolutely slick. I had no issues at all. It was fast, it was quick, connecting to friends and stuff. It was just straight in. When it first started on the first night, there was a few little problems where it was putting more than 4 people in a game. All that happened there was the 4 of us were playing, 2 people were grayed out, stuck loading. But it soon ironed itself out. It was only the first hour or so.
It was only like a technical test. There was always going to be a few
absolutely.
issues.
And the first night I tried to play it, you try to join a match and fail, and try to join a match and fail, and then maybe third try get in, and then it was pretty flawless when I actually played. I think I had 2 crashes over the many, many hours I put into the test. And then, by the next day and the day after, those connection issues were pretty much gone. So as far as technical tests go, it
I had
was
about the same experience as you, Grady. I got kicked out a few times, and there were a few graphical bugs and like certain weapons, clipping and all that. But that all seemed to iron out pretty quickly, and it was fun.
I think from the technical perspective, you can never tell how stuff is going to run there and then, but it looks like they're actively fixing issues as they crop up.
Yeah.
So I guess when it comes to a more open beta, not the technical, then you'll probably see the bigger changes when they've got far more people playing.
But I think they solved some challenges right at the beginning of that test, because they delayed starting it for hours and hours and hours because something cropped up, and they were able to resolve it within the first, the second half of the first day. So it was definitely a successful test on that end. And not only that, it was pretty fun.
I think that's probably where they failed a bit on the Splitgate thing. Like, of course, they didn't think it was going to be as popular as it did, but I think if they over-prepared in some senses, might have gone a bit
Splitgate's been out for a
smoother.
while, yeah?
Yeah,
How long
August. I think on console it came out in August. Yeah, so it came... Alright, so the early access was on Linux and Windows, and that was on the 24th of May 2019, and it came out on console on July 27th, 2021.
Okay, so it was console that brought the big population to it. Wasn't popular before that, really.
No. Yeah, correct.
It's probably because it's so simple. It's unashamedly a Halo ripoff. It's Halo. They even say it themselves. It's Halo and Portal all in one. Even when you get a victory or something, or it's the same voice as they use in Halo. It's brilliant. So of course,
I'm surprised they're getting away with it.
Well, so of course, it might be a little decibels different, but yeah, it sounds the same to my untrained ear. Of course, once it's come to consoles, all the Halo fans that have played on consoles for all these years have basically gone, "Let's try this. This is brilliant," because it's something new, and it does
Is that
feel
teabagging?
like.
There has to be.
Probably, but there has to
Is
be.
there bot
can't leave that
teabagging?
out.
You just have to crouch over him, right?
Yeah, that's how that works.
I've got a friend I work with who's everything. All he plays is Halo. If I say what you've been playing, he doesn't play any other game but Halo. And even he switched Halo off for 2 or 3 days to play with a couple of friends of his. I mean, he's crazy good at Halo as well. So I used to compete back in Halo 2 days, I think.
Oh, wow. I guess
yeah,
he's
so
lucky it wasn't a Nintendo property because they'd already burned the studio down.
Yeah. So even he said it's absolutely. He's been showing me. He's been sending me clips over WhatsApp. I'm just thinking, wow, that looks awesome.
You know, I really wanted to avoid playing that. And now that I've finally been talked into trying it, the servers are down. So, such is life.
Never not meant to be.
Speeching to you.
You can't cheat on Halo.
Speeching.
Woe and regret. Well, I think it's a varied show, fun show. Dan, why don't you take us home?
Thanks for joining us this week, guys. I think it was a pretty good show. Thanks for joining us, Animated Evil. It's great to have you on. It's great to add, a bit more flavour to the mix every now and then. Hope you enjoyed yourself. You can follow us, on Twitter and Facebook for all the updates on the podcast news. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be here with you next week. I'm absconding to better pastures for the week. So you'll have these bozos to look after you. But until next time, no matter what, guys, just carry on gaming. Thanks for listening.